All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin. Today's daf is Peites. You have a lot to do today. Today's daf is Peites. We are picking up Peichesamad base 88p. Really a lot to do today. Ubepluta dahani tanoi. It is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 lines up from the bottom. So remember again, we left off yesterday in the midst of a riveting machlokas regarding the menorah, or more specifically, the construction of the menorah. So it says the Gemara, Ubepluta dahani tanoi, the Sanya. Menorah v'neroseha ba'os min hakikar. So the Gemara says that the menorah v'neroseha. Remember again, that means the menorah, which is like the base or the trunk of the menorah, and neroseha. Neroseha means literally the candles or the arms of the menorah. So remember again, there is the menorah base, then there is the branch which extends up from the base, and then there are multiple other branches which extend what we'll call from that trunk. So those are called nerosel. Those are called the extensions. It's lamps. So all of that was made from one block of gold. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Nechemia Omer menorah haisa ba'a minaki. I'm sorry, ve'ein malkacha u'machtoseh minakikar. Rabbi say machtoseh are the tongues, machtoseh are the scoops. Those are things that were used to clean out the bulb of the menorah. So those did not have to come from the solid block of gold. Rabbi Nechemia Omer menorah haisa ba'a minakikar v'lo nerosel malkacha u'machtoseh ba'a minakikar. So what's amazing if Rabbi Nechemia disagrees. And Rabbi Nechemia says the menorah, the base of the menorah came from a solid block of gold, but the tongues, the scoops, and even the branches themselves did not. They did not come from the block of gold. So we'll say, fundamental machlokes here about halacha lamaisa, whether or not the neros, the branches of the menorah, did they come from the kikar or not? Did they come from the miksha? Did they come from the block of gold or not? Clearly, Tanakama holding yes, Rabbi Nechemia holding no. But what are they arguing about? B'haikra. What are they arguing about? The following pasuk. This sani we learned in our brayso, kikar zahav tahar yasa osa. You have to make the menorah out of one block of pure gold. So it teaches us that the menorah has to come from a solid block of gold. Minayin the rabbos nerosel. But say, how do we know that even the branches of the menorah, which come from the base, also have to be from one solid block of gold? Talmud lomar es kol kelim ha'ela. Therefore, we'll say the pasuk says even the kelim, the utensils, have to come from a block of gold as well. Yochol shani marbe af malkocha machtosel. I might have thought that would also mean that the scoops and the tongs also have to come from the block of gold. Talmud lomar osa. Therefore, the pasuk says no. This meaning the menorah, not the supporting utensils. Rabbi Nechemia. The boss says these words Rabbi Nechemia. Now we have a problem because kasher Rabbi Nechemia and Rabbi Nechemia. The boss said fundamental machlokes for Rabbi Nechemia. In other words, Rabbi Nechemia just said above that halacha l'maisa the neros, which means the branches of the menorah, do not have to be made from the same kikar, from the same block of gold. Here he's saying they do. To which the Gemara says not a kasha. Trei tanai v'alibud Rabbi Nechemia. Two different opinions according to Rabbi Nechemia. Okay, so it's a machlokes in what Rabbi Nechemia said. Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha Omer, menorah ba min hakikar. Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha said, the menorah comes from a block of gold. Ve'in malkacha machtoseh v'neroseh ba min hakikar. But I will say ultimately again, the scoops, the tongues, and the branches do not come from the kikar. Ve'ela ma'ani mekayim es kol hakelim ha'ela. So we'll say, so what does it mean when we say all of the utensils? Shahayu kelim shal zahav. Teaches us that I will say all of the kelim associated with the menorah have to be made of gold. Zahav behedjik sibbo. We'll say that's explicit that it has to be made with gold. After all, again, the pasuk in Shmuel says, "Va'asisas neroseh shiva vehelas neroseh vehera es erapanev malkacha machtoseh zahav tar." So lo nitzrucha ela lepineros. So we'll say, I'll tell you where it comes up. It comes up by what the Gemara calls the lip or the mouth of the nair, of the bulb. We'll say the idea is the way that we'll call it the receptacles of the menorah were structured is that they have like a little lip. That little lip is where the wick rested against. The wick didn't stand up like this. The wick was in the oil and kind of was then hung over the side a little bit. So that lip is called the pihaner. So we'll say, I might have thought that does not have to be gold. After all, Hatorah chasa amamonon shel Yisrael, top of Peites, v'lei avid zahav koldu. So say, I would have thought that since that area gets blackened anyway, meaning because again that's where the fire burns, I would have thought that there's no obligation to make it from pure gold, but rather you can make it from any quality gold. Kamash Mala know that even the pineros, even the lip of the cup that holds the wick, ultimately again has to be made from pure gold. So both say, so this happens to be a fascinating machlokes about how the menorah was structured, specifically focusing on the idea where the neros, the branches of the menorah, did they come from the solid block of gold, or were they fashioned out of separate gold and subsequently attached? So clearly here we see a machlokes in Rabbi Nechemia and the Rabbanon. The Rambam in Hilchos Beis HaBechira paskins like the Rabbanon in this brisa, namely that the menorah in its entirety was made from miksha, was made from one block of gold. So the base, the trunk, and the branches all came from one block of gold. That's how the Rambam paskins. He holds that the supporting utensils, like the spoons, the tongs, those were also made from gold, but did not have to be fashioned from the same block of gold. Good. Chatzi lug shemen l'toda. So we'll again remember, going back to the Mishnah said that a half a lug of oil was used for the loaves of the Toda. Tanya Rabbi Akiva Omer Matam Lomer Bashemen Shnei Pamim. Rabbi Akiva says, why does the pasuk have to say Bashemen twice? Ilu lo ne'emar ela Bashemen achos. Because had it just said Bashemen once, Hayisi Omer Harehu Kichala Menachos Lelug. I would have thought that the Toda is like all other Menachos and should only get a lug of oil. Achshav Shekasav Bashemen. Both say not only, but it should get a lug of oil. Now that it says Bashemen twice, Havi riboy acha riboy. Rabbi say that's called, remember, a riboy, an encompassing phrase, or I should say, not encompassing. What's the word? Inclusive. Thank you. Inclusive phrase after another inclusive phrase. Vein riboy acha riboy elamait. And ultimately, Rabbi say we have a general exegetical principle that a riboy after a riboy actually comes to exclude. What does it come to exclude? Miutu achosov lechatzi log. Tells you that the Toda, as opposed to other menachos which get a lug, the Toda only gets half a lug. Riboy acha, riboy chad riboy. What do you mean riboy acha riboy? But it's all the same pasuk. So it says the Gemara, no, what it means, this is how you have to read it. Ella, ilu lo ne'emar bashemen kol ikar. Had the pasuk not mentioned shemen at all by the Toda, hayisi omer hareyu kichola menachos lelug. I would have thought that it's like all of the menachos, in that it gets a lug of oil. Achshav shene'emar bashemen. Was now that it says Bashemen, have a riboy acha riboy, then it is one riboy after another riboy, even though it's in the same pasuk. Then riboy acha riboy elalemait. And I will say the exegetical principle that riboy acha riboy comes to exclude. What does the pasuk come to exclude? Mi'ato akosov lechatzi log. Pasuk tells me that a Toda only goes ahead and gets half a log. So we'll say interesting havamina. I would have placed Toda in the mincha family. Menachos get a lug of oil. Bashemen, riboy acha riboy tells me Toda only gets half a lug. Good. So now both say, so now the shaila is going to become, how do I use the half a lug? So yachol yehi chatzi lug lazeh mischalik l'shalosh minin. Now both say, remember with a carbon Toda, there are three different types of loaves that are brought. So I would have thought, okay, you've got half a lug, three types of loaves that are brought. What do? You split the half a lug, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. The chalos, ulurikikin, uluravicha. So let's remember again, chalos are loaves, rikikin are like wafers, thinner wafer like loaves, and rikiva will say we saw it before mentioned. We'll see it again later on. Discusses it's made by scalding the flour. You scald it first, and then you bake it afterwards. So we'll say, so I would have thought that you take the half a lug and divide it equally amongst these three different types of loaves. Says the Gemara, Kishu Omer Bashemen Birichicha. But when the Torah uses the word Bashemen, it's specifically referring to what? To the scalded loaf, we'll call it. She'en Talmud Lomar Riba Shman L'Rechiva. So hakez. So we'll say, so what do I do? How do I divide up the oil? So watch this. Maybe Chatzi Lug. So we'll say, here's what we know. I know that a carbon Toda is comprised of three different types of loaves. I know that I'm only bringing a half a lug of oil for the carbon Toda. Now my only shaila is, how do I divide it up amongst the loaves? I also know that Bashemen is mentioned specifically by one of the types of loaves, by what the Gemara calls the revicha. The revichas are the scalded loaves. So the Gemara's Hakei said, here we go. Mevi chatzi lug shemen v'chotzeyu. Suppose I bring the half a lug of shemen, I split it in half. Chatziyav lechalos erikikin, v'chatziyav l'ravicha. So we'll say what's interesting is as follows. The Gemara understands that since bashemen is mentioned specifically by one of the loaves and not by the other two, so that means that category of loaves, in this case called the ravicha, gets half of the lug. So we'll say, so what ends up happening over here is that half of the chatzi lug is applied to the ravicha loaves, and the remaining half of the chatzi lug gets split between the chalos and the rikikin. Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Akiva, imatamar bekol yam kula b'shem v'shaman eni shomer alecha. So this is interesting. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, Rabbi Akiva, even if you go ahead and you darshan this bashemen as a riboy achar riboy the whole day, I'm still not going to listen to you. Ella chatzi lug shemen letoda. Rather, again, the halacha is we bring a half a lug of so we'll say Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, it seems to be saying to Rabbi Akiva is as follows: I don't like your drasha. I don't like your drasha of bashemen. But yet I agree with the halacha. The halacha is chatzi lug shemen letoda, urevius shemen lenazir, and a quarter of a lug of a shemen is used for the carbon of the nazir, which we'll discuss. Va'achadar sayom shebein nida lenida. Now we'll say, now what is this? What is this talking about? So we'll say achadar sayom shebein nida lenida means that on a d'oraisa level, we assume that a woman cannot experience a nida flow within the first 11 days after having completed her previous cycle. So what does that mean, halacha l'maisa? So what if she does bleed within 11 days of the completion of her last cycle? We call that ziva, or zivus, and not nida. We call it zava blood and not nida blood, which is just reckoned differently. Again, we're not going to. We'll see this in Maseches Nida. So I'll say these things are halacha l'Moshe misinai. These three halachos, obviously there are others, but these three things apparently were often taught together, are halachos l'Moshe misinai. So also Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah saying to Rabbi Akiva is, the bottom line is correct. There is a half a lug of oil that is used for a toda. But Rabbi Akiva, whereas you darshan is bashemen, which is a riboy achar riboy lemait. I would have thought toda is like every other mincha that it gets a lug. Therefore, bashemen is a riboy achar riboy, and riboy achar riboy el lemait tells you that it only gets a chatzi lug. Rabbi Akiva, you can darshan from here until tomorrow. I'm still not going to listen to you, right? But the halacha is that a toda gets half a lug. Why? Because it's a halacha l'Moshe misinai. Good. Belog hayat moded. So we'll say again, if you remember again, the Mishnah said as follows. The Mishnah said, Belog hayat moded l'chol ha-menachos. So remember again, we'll say under normal circumstances we just saw before. So a mincha comes from a isaron of flour. That's the amount of flour, and it had a lug of oil that accompanied it. So that's the relationship. One isaron of flour for a lug of oil. Now remember, after that, the Mishnah then got into saying the following. Let's say even if you brought a massive mincha, like 60 esronos, 60 esronos. So Rabbi says, how many lugin does 60 esronos get? So remember again, the first of the Mishnah said 60, right? And then the Mishnah said that what? The Mishnah said that even in that case, so how would you go ahead and measure out 60 lugim of oil? 60 times. You use a one lug utensil and you keep measuring it out, one, until you get to 60. The second opinion of the Mishnah Bosai, which was the opinion of Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, said no, one lug of oil per mincha, no matter how big that mincha is. So here we go. So it says the Gemara, Tan Rabbanan, b'mitzora aniksiv isaron balul v'lug. So we'll say, by the mitzora who's in ani, right, which is the impoverished Mesorah, speaking about the type of carbon that he brings. So the Torah tells us that, see the pasuk over here is ve'im dalhu. Let me read to you the pasuk. Ve'en yadom asagas, if he is poor and he cannot bring the normal offering at the conclusion of his saras. V'lakach keves echad asham letnufa lechaper alav v'isaron solas echad balul bashemen lemincha, and he will go ahead and bring an isaron, right, one isaron of flour, balul bashemen, mixed together with oil, memincha, v'lug shemen, and one lug of oil. So watch this. It says the Gemara. So isaron balul v'lug limeit Ali Saron Sheta'onug Divrecham. So we'll say first wide line, Pei Tesman Aleph. So what do we learn from here? We learn from here that one lug, V'limid Ali Saron, we learn from here that one Isaron of flour requires one lug of oil. So this pasuk teaches us an important relationship. One Isaron is a dry measure, one Isaron of flour comes with a one lug of oil. Rabbi Nechemia, Rabbi Lazar Omrim, Afilu Mincha. Now in the Chachamim's model, so that relationship keeps growing. So in other words, no matter how many esronos you have, there is always one lug of oil per isaron. So you bring a 1 isaron mincha, 1 lug of oil. You bring a 60 isaron mincha, 60 lugin of oil. Rabbi Nechem and Rabbi Lazar Omrim, Afilu mincha shal shishim esronim, ein la ela luga. Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Nechemia say halacha lamaisa, even if no matter how big the mincha gets, 1 lug of oil per mincha. Whether that mincha is 1 isaron, whether that mincha is 60 esronos. Shene'emar la mincha v'lug shemen. Because we'll say the pasuk says la mincha, whatever the mincha is, lug shemen. Ultimately, again, it goes ahead and it gets good. It goes ahead and it gets its 1 lug of oil. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Nechem, Rabbi Lazar, Hai Isarn Balul Velug My Avdile. So we'll say, here's the problem. What do Rabbi Nechem and Rabbi Eliezer do with the Chachamim's pasuk? Right, the Chachamim use the pasuk ultimately again of Isaron Balul Velug to teach me a relationship that for every Isaron there is a lug of oil. What do Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Nechemia, who do not agree with that? They say 1 lug of oil per mincha, no matter how big the mincha. But what do they do with that pasuk? My avdile, hahu legufei, the ka'amar rachmana lai sichad isarn. Both say that pasuk is coming to teach me a halacha. What's the halacha? In other words, we'll say it's not coming to teach me a klal. It's coming to teach me a halacha, namely that if the metzora is poor, he brings a small mincha. What's his small mincha? 1 isaron with 1 lug. It's not coming to teach me a relationship for all other menachos. It's coming to teach me that mincha. V'idach, Nechachamim will say, legufei lo tzarich. I don't need the pasuk only for the impoverished mitzora. Why not? Midigali rachman gabi mitzora. But say since the pasuk taught me by the other mitzora, that the other mitzora will say was the rich mitzora or the comfortable mitzora. Gimel karbanos and gimel esronos, that you bring ultimately again 3 animal offerings and 3 esronos. Hacha dechad karban v'chad isaron. So I could extrapolate from that the poor mitzora could bring just 1 karban and 1 isaron. So therefore, again, technically speaking, I don't really need the pasuk. Because I don't need the pasuk, come teach me the principle, namely of the relationship between 1 isaron and 1 lug shemen. V'idach, the other opinion will say itzrich. Sagadait chamina hoil v'chasrach mana aleh lasuye bedalos emaloli by mine klal. So we'll say, I might have thought that what, since the Torah is very cognizant of the financial limitations of the Jew, maybe in this case, if the metzora is an ani, maybe halacha l'maisa, the Torah exempts him from the carbon altogether. V'idach, the other opinion will say, no, legamre lo ashkechan. We'll say, even if we say haTorah chassa amamona she'Yisrael, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is compassionate on our finances, on our resources, that never lets the person off scot-free, right? Halacha l'maisa, you still have to bring something. V'Rabbanon, hayla mincha v'lug shemen my avdilei. We'll say, so what do the Rabbanon do with the pasuk of Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Nechemia? What do they do with the pasuk of la mincha v'lug shemen? Hahu l'misnadev mincha, shelo yifchas midavar hata'on lug. We'll say, from that pasuk we learn that halacha l'maisa, if you pledge a mincha, you can't pledge a mincha with the amount of flour that will require less than a lug. In other words, the minimum amount of flour that you could pledge as part of a carbon mincha is the amount of flour which generates a lug of oil obligation. Umayni, what's that amount of flour? Isaron. Nisaron v'idach. Rabbi Nechemia will say, Tarti shamis mina. You can learn out both halachas from this same drasha. So we'll say, so we end off with a fascinating machlokes here. We're already mentioned in the Mishnah about what's the relationship of the flour to the oil in a carbon mincha. Do we say that it's 1 lug of oil per isaron, or do we say 1 lug of oil per mincha, no matter how many esronos in the mincha? That's the machlokes in the Mishnah. The Rambam Paskins like the first opinion, namely that halacha l'maisa in carbon mincha, it is 1 lug of oil per isaron. So you bring 1 isaron, 1 lug. You bring a mincha 50 esronos, 50 lugin of oil. However, Rabbi say, according to that opinion, the Rambam also says we accept the principle in the Mishnah that the only had a utensil the size of a lug. So if you happen to bring a very large karb mincha, 50 esronos, you are measuring out 50 lugin of oil by using that one lug utensil 50 times. Good. Says the Gemara. Remember again, the Mishnah then went on to say that, remember, if there was a 6 lug utensil for the par offerings, 4 lug utensil for the ayil offerings, 3 lug utensil for the keves offerings. Where do we know this from? This is actually very interesting. V'niskehem chatzi hahin yelapar. So listen to this. So the pasuk says, "V'niskehem," the nesachim, right, are a half a hin for the par. Hin treis lugi. So remember again, a hin represents 12 lug. Havyon. V'chsiv shemen zayis hin uksiv shemen mishchas kodesh ze ze li ladoro seichem. So let's say, so this is fascinating, Joshua. So watch this. So remember again, I know it says v'niskem chatzia hin. So a half a hin, so chatzia hin yelapar. So we'll say, so a half a hin, the Gemara says, Pasuk says by the par that it has to be the niskeim are a half a hin. The Gemara says a hin is 12 lugin. Therefore, again, a half a hin is 6 lugin. That's why the Mishnah says shisha lapar. So this is interesting. Dichsiv shemen zayis hin. But remember we said yesterday the hin measurement in its totality was only used once. It was only used by the shemen hamishcha made by Moshe Rabbeinu. So what does it say? Shemen zayis hin uksiv shemen mishchas kodesh yihye ze lila dorosechem. This anointing oil shall be for me for all generations. Ze b'gematria treser havyan. Well, I say this is so interesting. The word ze in gematria is 12. So I'll say all the Gemara is just pointing out over here is as follows: that pasuk, that word ze in the pasuk shemen mishchas kodesh yihye ze li ledorosechem, that ze is an extra word. Why is it there? So the Gemara is positing that it's here just to remind us of our relationship. The numerical value of ze is 12 to remind us that ultimately again the hin is 12 lugin. So once we have the hin is 12 lugin, then when it says ultimately again by the par chatzia hin, then ultimately again I know that the par is 6 lugin. And I've also remember that same pasuk is chatzia hin yelapar ushlishis hahin lahayil urevi'is hahin lakeves yayin. So also remember again, all the psukim highlights the exact relationship. Once I know that a hin is 12 lugin, then I know ultimately again how many lugin the par needs, how many lugin the ayol needs, and how many lugin the keves needs. Good. The Gemara goes weiter. So remember again, the Mishnah then said that for the menorah, it's 3.5 lug for the menorah in its entirety, which is a half a lug of oil per receptacle. So the Gemara says, where do we know that from? Menahani mili. The Tan Rabbanon me'erev ad boker. We'll say the pasuk by the menorah says the menorah has to be lit from evening until the next morning. Teila midasa sheteidolekes v'holechas me'erev ad boker. You have to put enough oil in the menorah. That's what? That it remains lit from morning until evening. So the Gemara says, davar achar, another possibility is me'erev ad boker. Ein lecha avoda shekshera me'erev ad boker ela zu bilvad. We'll say the other possibilities was erev ad boker. I mean, there is no other avoda in the Beis Hamikdash that is done me'erev ad boker. Let's remember again, normally avoda is done by day. Avoda is done by day. Avoda is dafka not done by night. The only avoda that's done me'erev ad boker is the lighting of the menorah. V'shiru chacham, the chacham said, how much oil do you need for it to remain lit from evening until morning? Chatzi lug, me'arta va'at safra. You need a half a lug of oil to keep the menorah burning from evening until morning. I will say this is actually very interesting. Now, by the menorah, so what's fascinating about this, if you notice, is by the other shiurim we've been learning them out from psukim. By the menorah, it just appears that Chazal or some not Chazal, really early already. I guess it was Moshe, Aaron Cohen, figured out how much oil was needed. Right? Meaning again, I know that the menorah has to burn from evening until morning. So how much oil does it take to do that? So if you notice again, there's no pasuk. The only pasuk that's written is that it tells you it has to burn from morning till evening. There's no pasuk that makes a remes to a shear. So the Baruch was saying is, put in enough oil in order to go ahead and allow it to burn from morning to evening. Ayri bono shel olam. How much is that? To which HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds, figure it out. Figure it out. So we'll say, so now here's what's fascinating. So the Gemara says, Ikada amri milamala lamata shiaru. So we'll say, so now there's apparently like a historical machlokes as to how they actually figured this out. So some say the way they figured this out is they started by putting in a lot of oil and then realizing they had left over and then gradually diminished the oil until they got to the right amount. That's milamala limata. A lot going down to a little. Ikada amri mimata lamala shiaru. Others say, no. What they did is, they actually started with a smaller amount of oil and then apparently went out a couple of times and began to increase it as they went on. So Gemara says, what's the pshat? So mandar matalamala shi'aru atora, shi'aru mima. Let me read that again. Mandar matalamala shi'aru. According to the opinion that said they started with a small amount of oil and began gradually to increase. Then again, in general, we'll see. I can't remember the last time that we have seen this. We've seen this concept throughout Shas, but it's been mentioned so many times over the last couple of dapim. So again, we want to be careful with the resources of Klal Yisrael. So you'll say, here's the problem: whatever leftover oil you have in the menorah, what do you do with it? You have to discard it. In other words, it's not usable. If you have leftover oil, you can't use it for the next day's lighting, right? You have to discard it. So therefore, again, in an effort to conserve resources, so they started with a smaller amount of oil, gradually adding on. In the opinion, it says they started with a lot of oil. So then having leftovers, they went ahead and they gradually scaled it back. Ein anius b'makom ashirus. Well, it's actually very beautiful. There is no poverty in a place of majesty, in a place of grandeur, in a place of wealth. If you look at Rashi, the top Rashi for just a moment, Rashi says over here, the Beis Hamikdash is a place of wealth, and therefore, again, even if you have leftover oil and you have to throw it out, so be it. In other words, what the Gemara says over here, according to that opinion, is the notion of skimping on the oil and potentially running out is a non-possibility. Therefore, we would rather be left with leftovers that we have to go ahead and throw out than not have enough. Good. Mishnah. So it's actually a very interesting case. So over here, if you look at Rashi, the top Rashi, ma'arvin niskei parim. So you could go ahead and mix. We're talking about the ability to mix nisachim with each other. Now Rashi says over here, top Rashi, meaning the top version of Rashi in the Mishnah, ma'arvin niskei parim. So the Gemara says, "Hi yayin v'shemen ka'amar." So we're talking about mixing nisachim of wine or of oil. V'achi kamar. Me'arvin miyayin niskei parim biyayin niskei elim va'af agav de lepar isle shlosh isaron soles v'chatz yayin shemen v'yayin v'shemen u'la'ayil beis isaron soles u'shlishes yayin yayin v'chein shemen afal pikin ma'arvin zevazeh mishum sheshneim b'lilasan shaveh v'tarvayu ika shnei lugin li'isaron. So we'll say what the Gemara is saying is as follows: if you're bringing a number of different karbanos and halacha l'maisa, the ratios are the same between flour, oil, and wine. Technically speaking, you could prepare the nesachim, you could prepare the libations, right? This is the wine libations. We think we're talking about wine and oil over here. We'll see whether he's just talking about wine. You could prepare it together and then divide them up for individual use afterwards. Why? Because since all of their wine-oil ratios are the same, even though they're coming in differing amounts, because the ratios are the same, you could prepare them together. So ma'arvin niskei parim b'niskei elim, you could go ahead and mix in the niskei parim with the niskei elim, niskei kevasim and niskei kevasim. And you could go ahead and so you can mix all of these different nesachim together, prepare them together. Obviously, you'll have to separate them out for offering purposes, but they can be prepared together. Shal yachid b'shal tzibor. Similarly, again, you could prepare the nesachim of the yachid together with the nesachim of the tzibor. Shalman beis. Shal yom b'shal emesh. You could prepare yesterday's nesachim together with today's Zechon. I will say, we made reference to this concept earlier, that halacha l'maisa, if you look at the Rashi in Kisvei Yad, the bottom section of Rashi, the first Rashi number days, Shayom b'shal emesh, in hevi emesh below nesachim, the karmelan, maybe adam zivcha unesachav, mikan v'alasarim. This is interesting halacha, which is if you bring a carbon but you forget to bring your libations, interestingly enough, you have a number of days after the offering of your carbon to bring your libations, to bring the nesachim. So we'll say, so halacha l'maisa, so actually Rashi over here says, mikan v'adasari yomim. You actually have 10 days after the offering of your carbon to bring your nesachim. Fine. So the Gemara says, Shalom b'shal emesh. So you could go ahead and prepare yesterday's nesachim with today's nesachim. Aval ein ma'arvin niske kvasim b'niske parim ve'elim. Rabbi say you cannot mix niske kvasim together with niske parim ve'elim. Rabbi say because apparently, as we'll see in the Gemara, these items are dissimilar. V'im balalan elu b'fnei atzman ve'elu b'fnei atzman. But I will say, if each of these nesachim were mixed on their own, vinis arvu, and then were subsequently mixed together, ksherim. So we'll say, this is an interesting halacha. If these items, so what we have over here essentially are three categories. Category 1 of items which can be mixed together. Category 2 of items which cannot be mixed together. Category 3 of items which, if mixed independently and then after they are properly prepared, become mixed in with one another, will be okay. Ad shelo bala, but if you do not prepare the nesachim on their own before they got mixed in with other nesachim, then pasal. Hakeves, haba im haomer. So we'll say the keves, which is the sheep offering, which comes with the carbon omer. Afa pisha minchaso kfula. Even though, again, Rabbi will say, the mincha of the Omer offering is doubled. We'll say, what does that mean? It's doubled. It's 2 isronos instead of 1 isaron. Lo hayu nisachav kfulim. Nevertheless, its nisachim were not doubled. So Rabbi is actually quite fast. So we'll see this in the Gemara. Or meaning, Simras the kasha. What's the kasha? Veiktiro. So we'll say, so the pasuk says, just to give you the pasuk, Veiktira koinam izbecha lechem isha la'Hashem. Pasuk says it shall be offered up on the mizbeach. What does that mean? Shelo ye'arev chalavim b'chalavim. Pasuk say the halacha is that even though what? All sacrificial fats are burned on the mizbeach, you shouldn't mix sacrificial fats together. In other words, each one should be burnt independently. You don't mix them together. Which I will say is another way of saying what? That when it comes to sacrificial items, we prefer not to go ahead and mix them together. If you look at the top Rashi, top section of Rashi, last wide line on the top section of Rashi, so we'll say, in general, we assume that sacrificial items should not be mixed together, right? So the idea is that they're offered up independently and separately. So just like you shouldn't mix together the fats, so too you shouldn't mix together the wine libations. To which the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan, in this arvu kamar, Rabbi Yochanan says, you're right, the Mishnah is not telling me that I should go ahead and mix together nisachim. Rather, what is the Mishnah talking about, Rabbi? What is it talking about? If it occurred. What is the halacha if these items end up getting mixed together? Look at Rashi again. Rabbi Yochanan, lo teima ma'arvin lechatchila ela im nis arvu kamar v'adik tani v'ikti. Fine. So Gemara says, ihachi, if that's the case, ve'ein ma'arvin niske kvasim b'niske parim ve'elim. So say, what do we do with the following phrase in the Mishnah? The Mishnah said that we do not mix together niske kvasim with niske parim and elim. Va'afilu nisarvu nami. Lo. We'll say, and even if they get mixed together, ultimately, again, it wouldn't be good as well. So the Gemara says, V'hamid diktani seifa. But if you look at the end of the Mishnah, balalan elu b'fnei atzman ve'elu b'fnei atzman. If you mixed first, if you prepared each nesech independently, in other words, you mixed each one independently, v'nes arvu, then they get mixed together, ksherim, that it will be kosher. Michlal dereish lechatchila kamar. Both say that sounds like the beginning of a Mishnah. Sounds like what? That you are proactively mixing other nesachim together. Rabbi says this is what it means to say hachi kamar ma'arvin yenon. Both say this is actually very interesting. So Rabbi says what it means to say is as follows: that halacha l'maisa, you can go ahead and mix the wine libations of various karbanos together. Im nisarif sultan ushmanan. If they're soulless, if their flour and oil parts of their mincha component have been mixed together. So Gemara says, yeah, so what that sounds like is saying is as follows. If the primary part of the mincha already got mixed together, i.e. the oil and the flour of two different menachos got mixed together, then you can mix their wines together as well. If the oil and the flour parts of the mincha did not get mixed together, ultimately, again, you cannot mix the wine together. The yayin lechatchila. Now, you have to understand something. You'll say to yourself, why would they want to mix things together? Just from a sheer efficiency perspective, if you could prepare a bunch of menachos together and separate them out subsequently, obviously it makes it much easier. To which the Gemara, you telling me then that it means that the wine of one nisachim cannot be mixed with other nisachim? You can't. When is this so? When is this what so? When is it so that you can't proactively mix menachos together? Bisolas v'shemen. That's talking about the flour and the oil. Aval yayin ma'arvin. But I will say when it comes to wine, even l'chatchila, you can mix it together for preparation purposes. Ela Rabbi, this is what it means to say. Achi kamar. Here we go. Hecha dehuktar saltan ushmanon ma'arvi yayin l'chatchila. But say if you have various menachos and the oil, the flour and the oil part of the mincha has already been offered up on the mizbeach, but the wine libational part has not. So what's the halacha? Ma'arvin yayin l'chatchila. Then you could even mix the wine together l'chatchila. In other words, you can mix all the wine together l'chatchila and offer it up. Heicha delo huktar. But ultimately, again, if the flour and oil component of the mincha has not yet been offered up, then what? Imnis arif salton ushmanon ma'arvin nami yayin. If the flour and the oil components get mixed together, then you can mix the wine together as well. Ve'im lav ein ma'arvin. But if not, you cannot mix the wine. To which the Gemara says, why not? Because we're concerned that if we let you mix the wine together, then what? You may come to go ahead and mix the flour and oil together as well. So we'll say, what comes out of here is as follows. Halacha l'maisa, the Gemara seems to say like this. If the flour and oil component of the mincha has already been offered up, then you can mix the various wines together. If the flour and oil have not been yet offered up, then you may not l'chatchila mix the wine together. But if the flour and oil end up getting mixed together, then you can mix the wine together as well. Keves habayim omer. So remember again, the Mishnah said that the keves that comes with the omer, even though again the flour of that mincha, the flour component of that mincha is doubled, 2 esronos, nevertheless the nesachim are not doubled. To which the Gemara says, Tan Rabbanon, umincha so shnei esronim. So remember again, the pasuk says that the mincha by the korban omer is 2 esronim. Also remember again, now the interesting part is we know these basic halachos in korban mincha. A mincha is 1 isaron. So the minchas ha'omer is different because it's 2 esronos. Limei dal keves habayim ha'omer sheminchasa kfula teaches me that the keves, the sheep that accompanies the minchas omer, comes with a mincha that is doubled, 2 esronos. Yachol kashem sheminchasa kfula kach ino kafol. I would have thought that the same way that the mincha itself is doubled, 2 esronos, so too the wine is doubled as well. Talmud lomar v'nisko yayin reviyas sahin. Therefore, the pasuk says that the nesach of the wine is a reviyas for the hin. So, meaning quarter of the hin. Yochol lo yehei yeino kafol she'on nivlal im minchaso. I would have thought maybe the wine is not doubled. Why? Because the wine doesn't get mixed in with the actual mincha itself. But maybe the amount of oil should be doubled. Why? Because after all, again, it gets absorbed with the mincha. Talmud lomar v'nisko kol nesachav lo yu el revius. Therefore, it tells you that all of the libational aspects, both oil and wine, should not be doubled. Rather, should only be revius, a quarter of a log. My Talmudah, we'll say, so how are we learning this out from the pasuk here? Amar Belazar ksiv v'niska uv'karinan v'nisko. So we'll say, so the way the word is written in the Torah is nun samechav hey niska, yet we read it nisko. Keitzad niska de mincha kinisko di yayin. They will say ultimately again the drush is the niska de mincha is kinisko di yayin. What does that mean? My yayin revius, just like ultimately again the wine is a quarter of a lug, af shemen nami revius. So too again the oil will also be a quarter of a lug. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Asham mitzora sheshachtu shlo l'shma. So we'll say, just finishing off this sugya, Rabbi Yochanan says in Asham mitzora, which was shechted shlo l'shmo. Now what's the case here? If you look at Rashi Ksav Yad, the bottom section of Rashi, third to last line. Asham Ritzar Sheshachta Shalosh Shmo, Kegon L'Shem Asham Acher, V'lo L'Shem Mitzora. So we'll say the case over here is, the Mitzora has to bring an Asham, which is a type of sin offering. So let's say I'm the Mitzora, I'm bringing the carbon, and the Kohen Shech, or I have in mind Sholosh Shmo, for a different type of Asham. Still for an Asham, same family, just wrong designation. What's the halacha? Ta'un Nisachim. But we'll say it still requires its libational accompaniment. Look at Rashi, bottom Rashi still. Ta'un Nisachim, Kedin Asham Mitzora, Diktani B'masnisin, Ella Shechatasa V'Asham Shamatzara Ta'un Nisachim, V'avi Kishar Zachem Sheshachton Sholishman, Ksherim, Ella Shlo Olu L'Badim Shem Chava. So we'll say, so the Asham still requires its Nisachim. Even though I shechted it Shalol L'Shma, I still bring the Nisachim. Because we'll say, why? What's the halacha? The halacha is, even though it's being offered up, this goes back to our first Mishnah, Maseches Zvachim. Even though it's offered up Shalol L'Shmo, nevertheless, what? It's kosher. Elo Shalo Olu L'Bailim. It doesn't count to satisfy the obligation of the owners. Shem Yat Omer Kain. Because if you do not say this, pasalto. As well say, if you don't allow us to go ahead and bring the accompanying nesachim, then what? You end up invalidating the carbon. Look at Rashi. Pasalto. Delishanos l'shem zevach acher i'afshar. Shar l'shem asham hufrosh. V'asham mitzorah l'miskasher below nesachim. Shein asham mitzorah below nesachim. So we'll say, here's the problem I have. To go ahead and repurpose it for a different type of carbon, you can't do. If I can't repurpose it for a different type of carbon, then the only way it's going to be kosher is to be offered up as an asham, and to be offered up as an asham, it requires what? Nisachim. So even though it's being offered up shalol l'shmo, nevertheless you offer it up with its nisachim. Maskev la Menachos bar Gad alami ata keves habayim omer sheshachto shalol l'shmo temin chaso kfula. So if that's the case again, says Menachos bar Gad. Let's just read a couple of more lines. So a keves. The keves that comes with the omer. If you shecht that keves shalol l'shmo, you're telling me now that you still bring the doubled mincha to esronos. Shem iya to omer kain, because if you don't do that, pasalto, you have gone ahead and invalidated the carbon. Similarly, v'tamid shel shachar sheshachtu shalol l'shmo, v'tamid shel shachar that sheshachtu shalol l'shmo, yeton shnei gizirin b'koin echad. Also, Rabbi requires the placement of 2 blocks of wood by one kohen. Rabbi that's part of the Tamid Shel Shachar. Part of the offering there is that one kohen has to place 2 new pieces of wood on the altar prior to the offering of the Tamid Shel Shachar. Shimat HaOmer Kain, Shem Iyat HaOmer Kain, because if you don't say this, pasalto, you will invalidate the carbon. Similarly, again, I'll say when it comes to the Tamid Shel Bein Arbayim, if you checked it at Shalol L'Shmo, you still require 2 kohanim to each place 1 piece of new wood on the altar. Shem iyat ha'omer kin pasalto, because if you don't do this, you pass. Well said. What the Gemara is saying over here is as follows. What do you begin to see? You begin to see that there are certain karbanos that halacha lemaisa, even if you're offering up Shalol L'Shmo, you still have to perform the procedures associated with the lishma carbon, because failure to do so will invalidate the carbon and preclude it from being offered. The fact that we offer it tells us that halacha l'maisa you have to do the accompanying processes as well. To which the Gemara says, Einachinami. It is true, right? It is true. Ultimately, again, all of these statements are correct. Ella Amar Abaye Chadaminayu Nakat. Excuse me. Ella Amar Abaye Chadaminayu Nakat. Brother, I'll say ultimately again Abaye just mentioned one of the cases and not all of the cases. So we'll stop over here for today. We're not finished with the sugya, but again, what the Gemara is introducing to me is that even when a carbon is offered up Shalol L'Shmo, by definition there may be certain carbonic processes associated with the normative offering of that carbon L'Shma that still have to be done in order to allow the carbon ultimately to be offered. All right,